It's not like devotee feels anyway that I've become higher to the Lord or something. No. Simply reciprocates with the mood of the Lord. And the Lord is simply trying to serve his devotees. So mutually there is a service to each other. So here it says in Bhakti Yoga, the devotee follows this Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Niram Dasam, Sakyam, Nivedanam. The service of glorifying the Lord by hearing, chanting, and so on is not, of course, meant for the benefit of the Lord. This devotional service is recommended for the benefit of the devotee. So when we are absorbed in glorifying the Lord, so actually that's how we are truly pleased. That's how we are truly happy. And by seeing us truly happy, Lord is very happy. So that's the best way we can make Lord also happy. Because just like the parents, they're happy when the child is happy. Parents' true happiness comes when the child is also very happily situated. So the child is, like Antadepu always would tell me, that when you go to a home, you tell your mother, that make this for me, make that for me, and eat nicely. Should not be like a vairagi there. She would chastise me that way. Then you tell me, by that your mother will be happy, if you demand this way. So devotee also, may sometimes, what I'm saying is that, so basically, what is happening is that when we are engaging in devotional service, so by that we actually truly become happy, and we can have that thought process that if I actually serve the Lord, if I am engaged in His service, so then the Lord is truly pleased, and the way Lord is pleased is because we actually are engaged in His service, and He wants us to be happily situated that way. So the Lord is always glorious, whether the devotee glorifies Him or not. But if the devotee engages in glorifying the Lord, the devotee himself automatically becomes glorious. So our true glory is in the service of the Lord. So because our existence only is, truly, when we are engaged, our existence is truly justified and truly glorious when we are engaged in the service of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita also the soul is called Mahan. One page writes that soul is Mahan. So what is the Mahanta of the soul? When the soul is actually engaged in the service of the Lord, it's a part and parcel of the Lord. So when he is engaged in the service of the Lord, then it's truly glorious. Mahatmanastu Mahapata Devim Prakati Mashira. Also that verse is there. So when we are engaged in the service of the Lord, then only we are truly glorious. And that's the real glory of the soul. So it's like the part has its glory or its existence is justified and perfect when it's serving the whole. Like all our limbs of the body, finger, hand, legs, they all are properly and truly glorified, and their purpose is served only when they're serving when they're all serving collectively to the whole, the body. And then that's how they're also in healthy state. And they're also healthy and enlivened and happy. The same way when we are surrendering to the Supreme Lord, when we are serving the Supreme Lord, then only we have a true glorious existence. Otherwise, we are in disease state. Prabhupada says that the finger is not serving the body, then that kind of finger, that kind of hand is actually in disease state. So when we are also not engaged in the service of the Lord, then we are also in a disease state. And the finger itself, is actually, it becomes like it's not properly situated, so it is painful and everything, and it's painful for the entire existence of the body also. It's not a very good situation. So by glorifying the Lord constantly, the living entity becomes purified in the core of his heart. And thus he can understand that he does not belong to the material world, but is a spirit soul whose actual activity is to advance in Krishna consciousness, so that he may become free from the material clutches. So the glorification of the Lord is the means by which we can get purified as well. So our true position is to be always engaged in glorifying the Lord. And when we are in that disease state, when we have become forgetful of the Lord, so the remedy is also glorifying the Lord. By doing that, our eternal activity of glorifying the Lord, only we can become purified like that. And such glorification of the Lord is very, very much nourishing to the soul. That's the real nourishment for the soul. So when we are engaged in the glorification of the Lord, then the soul is truly nourished, satisfied, and happy. And even in conditioned state also, we find that nourishment and we find that purification. So we get purified, and when it's completely liberated, then further the person is more and more enlightened. So the blazing fire of material existence immediately extinguished. So this is the means of extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence when we are absorbed in the glories of the Lord. We are glorifying the Lord. That's what Narad Muni concludes also after telling his past time, his whole episode of how he became devotee. So he says this verse that Etadhyatur Chittana Matra Sparsheshamu Bhava Sindhu Plavo Dishto Hari Charyanu Varnanam. So he says that those jivas who are so anxious, so much hankering, Atur Chittana Matra Sparsheshamu for sense gratification. They're so much hankering and anxious for sense gratification, and they're actually just bringing so much of misery. Etadhyatur Chittana Matra Sparsheshamu Bhava Sindhu Plavo Dishto. So for them, this Bhava Sindhu, this entire ocean of material existence in which all the living are so much suffering. So how can they cross over when their current state is that they're always so anxious for sense gratification, just trying to enjoy the senses. So what are the means? So he said they should just sit on the boat. Bhava Sindhu Plavo. They should sit on the boat. And what is that boat? That is Hari Charya Anuvarana, continuous glorification of the Lord. So when we engage in that, then we are actually on that boat. Even though our current mind and senses and all may be pulling and pushing in so many directions, but we can be safely situated on the boat of glorification of the Lord, and we are actually crossing over this ocean of birth and death. That is the only remedy. So one doesn't have to worry too much about the pushing and pulling of the senses and the mind, our hankering and lamentation. So many things jiva is affected. But for some or the other, one should just put himself in this boat of Hari Charya Anuvarana. And that is that, and one will find great relief. And one will find that one is actually going closer and closer to the Lord. And that glorification of the Lord actually happens when one comes in association of devotees. If you see the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the first verse itself, Prabhupada writes, as soon as there is the devotees of the Lord that anxious to be Krishna conscious, when there's kind of anxiousness to become God conscious, to be Krishna conscious, immediately there will be glorification of the Lord. There will be discourses on the Lord. So we have to have the simply anxiousness that I want to become Krishna conscious. Okay, yes, currently I may not be so Krishna conscious. My mind and senses may be driving me in different directions. So the Atur Chittana. But if I'm anxious to become Krishna conscious, then that kind of association of devotees, those are also similarly anxious. It's just being with them, we can simply just have the glorification of the Lord. So say when the devotees, those who are anxious to become Krishna conscious, anxious to become pure devotees, they're anxious to go back to Godhead. When they come together, though they may not be currently, in a very Krishna conscious state, they may be struggling. But when they come together, when they're anxious, then there'll be wonderful glorification of the Lord. And then they find that how they get relieved from all varieties of hankering and lamentation and any illusion and all, everything, one gets completely relieved from that. So that always amazed me, sometimes even we have seen like from our beginning of Krishna consciousness, whenever we come together with the desire that I want to become Krishna conscious, you want to serve our spiritual master, you want to serve the devotees, you want to please them. So when we come like that, even though we may be like neophytes, we just come together, but because we're just trying to reflect on what we have read and heard, we're trying to read, we're trying to discuss. So it is so enlightening, it is so wonderful. There's such kind of potency there, like that. When we come together like that. Yes, individually I may not be so good. Somebody else may be having struggles. But when we come together with that anxiousness to glorify the Lord, then the whole assembly actually gets such benefit, such potency is there. Yatra Gayanti Padmata Tatata Chami Narada. So Lord gets very pleased with that anxiousness of the devotees to become Krishna conscious. So Lord actually manifests himself there. And one can feel the purification happening there. And one can see how one is feeling more and more nourished. The blazing fire of material existence, one can see how it's getting extinguished more and more. But when we give up that kind of anxiousness and become anxious for some other things, some other material purposes, some material cause takes over, so much of anxieties of this world. When we become anxious for that, we align with that. Then we get off the boat of glorification of the Lord. And that's how we find the whole heat of material existence gets increased for us. The conclusion is that one should always be anxious to be Krishna conscious. That anxiousness to be Krishna conscious is the solace. This is the way the devotee we can be actually Krishna conscious, because the Lord manifests. So this is a very important point. So a foolish person is amazed that Krishna orders Sarv Dharman Paritaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Abandon all varieties of religious activities and just surrender into me. Just one more thing, that many times when, like all of us, if you can reflect back when we just came to Krishna consciousness. So we're just coming, very like a very crude material world. We're just coming and we just came to know about Krishna consciousness. We came to know about holy name. So if you reflect back, that time we were really very anxious to really experience. I mean, take the shelter of holy name and take the shelter of devotees. We saw every devotee as pure devotee. We saw a temple is Vaikuntha, spiritual world. This is how we were so anxious, at least in the beginning, when we could see also the kind of the ecstasy and that how we were having that shelter, that experience of shelter was so great. At least we all have some experience of it. Some experience of it is there, like that. So, but when we come in the fold of devotional service, but sometimes after coming, after staying for some time, some years get past, then sometimes there is a danger that we may lose that anxiousness. So His Holiness Radhan Maharaj says that how the Maya, it actually is always there to cheat us. So eventually, as we spend some years in Krishna consciousness, then Maya will put many different varieties of allurements and many different varieties of other things, distractions, by which a devotee can become anxious for many other things than to be Krishna conscious. So that original purpose of coming to Krishna consciousness, purpose of taking chanting holy name, is actually we wanted to be Krishna conscious. We wanted to become pure devotee. We wanted to go back to God. That's what we wanted. Actually, that spark, that seed was there. That's the actual seed, that spark of sincerity with which we came up. We were having our issues, but at least that spark of sincerity was there. So we have to fan more and more. So keeping that very sacred in our heart, this is what we have to nourish. That seed that we have to nourish. We have got it because we came to Krishna consciousness hearing Srila Prabhupada. We came to Krishna consciousness, hearing the sincere devotees who told us that the pure philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So we have all got that, and we were attracted to it. So that spark of sincerity should be actually fanned further. It should be made more and more, into blazing fire. It should increase more and more. So we should be very carefully guarding against that. We shouldn't get into any other thing than our goal to become Krishna conscious and being anxious to go back to God. So when we read Prabhupada's books, we see this. Srila Prabhupada is always aligned with this. Like when I was reading Prabhupada saying again and again, one should not think spiritual world to be a myth. One should believe that spiritual world exists, and one should be very much anxious to actually go back to the spiritual world, go back to Krishna, to be engaged in devotional service. Prabhupada says in that That verse says that how one should be fascinated by this information. One should be fascinated, one should become anxious that yes, I want to go back to Godhead. So that is, I was hearing, I don't know, I was hearing some of the proper disciples, Muktananda can tell. So, they would be getting in the morning and they were just thinking, oh, let us serve Prabhupada. And, they would feel that today we are going back to Godhead. Because they were so ready and so inspired, so enthused. Like, today only I'm going back to Godhead. It was like that, So, because they were living with that spirit of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is in that spirit, like today only I'm going back to Godhead. It's not tomorrow, it's not after many lifetimes, because I'm just fully ready to serve Krishna. Let us make Prabhupada famous. I think our Krishna let's make today, let us work hard to make Prabhupada more and more famous. So that kind of a spirit is so nice, that anxiousness that yes, I want to go back to Godhead, I want to serve Prabhupada, I want to just give myself to this mission of Srila Prabhupada, that my entire existence, my every blood can be used in Krishna's service. The spirit is very nice. Krishna really likes that. Of course, we may have our issues, we may have our struggles, we may have our complacency, all things, but that spirit is so good, so nice. So Krishna likes that kind of spirit. So yeah, and that actually can keep us on that boat of glorification of the Lord. So you'll be glorifying the Lord either hearing and chanting or by serving also. Serving the Lord also is kind of glorification of the Lord. Yeah, that is also glorification. So that's how we'll be very, nicely situated in that boat. And the devotee will not feel the existence of material world like that. Like we heard about those, three couples, when they were engaged in the mission of Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada sent them, Prabhupada center. So then, their experience was that they had no material talk at all. They're three young couples, but they're so absorbed. They're so absorbed in just serving Srila Prabhupada. So whenever they talk, they would only talk about the mission, only talk about the service. So that was kind of intensity they had. So Prabhupada's influence, you can see. So a foolish person is amazed that Krishna orders Sar Dharman Paritaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Abandon all varieties of religious activities and just surrender unto me. Some foolish scholars even say that it is too much to demand. But this demand is not for the benefit of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rather, it is for the benefit of human society. So when Lord is demanding, he is not demanding for his cause. Actually, he is demanding like a loving father. He might demand, you ask him, you don't understand what is good for you. Like that. So Lord in that mood actually is demanding. Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad Gita preface also, I believe, he says that Lord wants it, Lord demands it, that you be engaged in my service. You keep me in the center of the life. Lord demands it. So Lord is humble, that's why we may not be able to speak so much about it. He does speak in Bhagavad Gita. But the devotees of the Lord, in you see the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it's all about surrendering to the Lord. So devotees can further canvas on behalf of Lord to all of us. Please come. They may also demand like that. Srila Prabhupada demanded a lot. Today only I was just hearing the audio book about Ishopanishad, which I Muktananda also was saying that Prabhupada said, you don't know who is God. I know. You take it. I tell. Krishna is God. You take it. Just take it. Take it from me. So Prabhupada is saying, so in Ishopanishad also Prabhupada writes, I was amazed that there also it is there. Prabhupada says that you take it. Krishna is God. Just take it. So, so pure devotee also demand like that. You surrender to Krishna. Give up all this nonsense. Go back to Godhead. So they will also be very much in demanding mode. So this all demand is there only for the sake of jiva only. It's not for, they don't gain. They only gain that happiness that this jiva has also become happy. This is what they're looking for. So this demand is not for the benefit of the Supreme Personality of God. Rather, it is for the benefit of the human society. So if it's, when we are also serving our spiritual master and the devotee, so actually all those different varieties of services what we carry. I mean, we may have the projects we may have, the services we may have. This is all actually for our benefit. I mean, we are the receiver. We are not trying to do favor to anybody, to the Lord, to the spiritual master, to anyone actually. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission is, I mean, is everyone, the holy name will be spread every nook and corner, every town and village. Many, many devotees will go back to Godhead. It's all going to happen. It's all with the prediction. So it is not that, oh, I'm going to do favor to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then things will happen. No, that's a prediction. That's going to happen. But if we actually align with that desire of the Lord, we are benefited. Our existence is purified, and we attain the highest perfection of life. So we always, have that. We should always have that mood that actually it's a great favor of the Lord on us. That He is. So we are so unqualified, we are so undeserving, but somehow I'm given a place in the mission of Lord Chaitanya. I'm giving some place in the mission of Lord Chaitanya. So what we are looking for, what our desires were. But in spite of no any endeavor from our side, somehow some devotee of the Lord just got us, recruited us, trained us, and gave us some feeble desire to go back to God. I mean, we are struggling. So I mean, it's a great favor on us like that. Sometimes we may not have actually much desire to please the spiritual master, please the Srila Prabhupada, to please the Lord. It's still some or the other we are engaged in the service. By the mercy of spiritual master, that someday this fellow will get purified and will actually develop the desire to go back to God to work for my pleasure. They tolerate that. Okay, fine. At least that will be engaged in service. So actually, it's a great favor on us that even though we are so undeserving, we may not be even desiring, still we are engaged in the pure devotional program of Acharyas, the mission of the Acharyas. We are engaged in that. It's a pure mission. Even though we are not so consciously, even desiring that, we are engaged. That's the mercy of the Lord and His devotees. So it's for our benefit, actually. It's for our benefit. So, yeah. And we see also sometimes, like some devotees may be struggling in some project, trying to do some service. And sometimes after some years, it may not be like, in terms of materially speaking, may not be some very good result also in the project and all. But you have seen many cases, like Sri Radheshyam Prabhu or even great spiritual masters. They're simply seeing that how this person is actually endeavoring. And he is getting purified, he is becoming better. That's the whole purpose. Like Srila Prabhupada writes also, that with this entire, and even Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also says, entire movement of this Krishna consciousness, what he has founded and he's given. If one single soul goes back to Godhead, the whole mission is successful. He says this. So if all what we are trying to do, if we are able to align with our spiritual master, we are able to please them with our endeavors. So that is a success, actually. Success in that sense, because we try our best. We are trying our best like that. So, so this is what we can always worry that me try my best to serve, and and there no one, I mean, none of the acharyas and our spiritual masters, and nobody is anyway fruity about getting some external success in any way actually. So what they are looking for is actually whether we are actually becoming better in our consciousness and we are becoming purified or not. Bhakti Chaudhary Maharaj was saying in one of the lectures just before his departure, was saying that I'm not so much concerned about big projects, how much money you're bringing, how much this thing you're getting for the ISKCON. What I'm concerned about, are you developing love for Krishna or not? That means the devotees, the acharya, the spiritual master, they're more concerned about our consciousness. So are we engaging ourselves, putting our all efforts? Okay, some project may be there, some kind of target may be there, some kind of results we may be trying to focus on. But are we actually doing it more and more with better and better consciousness? Are we becoming more and more purified and putting our efforts to please Guru and Krishna? That is what is most important. And then results will be there anyway. So Lord's mission is going to spread. The devotees can take anxiety for spreading the mission of the Lord, and you know, to take ahead to fulfill the desire of the Lord. But one should know that it's not that we are going to do some we are doing some favor, like the Vanaras, they're not doing some favor to the Hanumanji. I'm sorry, to Lord Rama. We should know we are Vanaras. We are Vanarasena. The Lord Rama is our glory is that we are taking shelter of Lord Rama. We are taking shelter of Supreme Lord. That is the glory. Taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada. And then they want to give credit. That is their glory. But it's not that we know. As Vanaras, we should know that we are Vanaras. That is the glory of Lord Rama. There is engaging that way. This way. So that understanding is very important for us. So Prabhupada said in one of the lectures, Prabhupada started crying actually. He was saying, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yom. He was telling this verse. And he was saying that, how can you just, does Krishna need anything from us? Krishna does not need anything from us. What Krishna needs from us? He is Lakshmipati. He is so glorious, so great. But Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, he is saying. Just give me some leaf or flower, some water. So what can you give? Prabhupada is saying, what can you give to Krishna? He says in that lecture. What can you give to Krishna? You have nothing. What will you give? So, but Krishna is just demanding. Just give me out of love. That's all. So this is what Krishna is looking for. Krishna does not want anything from us. But yeah, Krishna relishes the love of his devotees. That is one thing which Krishna relishes. And that is something very pure. It's very, very pure. So he says that if human beings individually and collectively surrender everything to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in full Krishna consciousness, all of human society will benefit. One who does not dedicate everything to the Supreme Lord is described in this verse as Avidusha, rascal. So actually we don't lose anything by giving to Krishna. That's a very important principle. You should never have any doubt. Any time you give to Krishna, you never lose. Never. Like Bhakti-Siddhanta Thakur, one disciple, Grahastha disciple, he gave his entire money, his entire savings in building that temple, Bhagavatam. And so much he gave that he did not have his principal place only to stay. And then Bhakti-Siddhanta gave some small days. He was staying there. And it is said that Bhakti-Siddhanta Thakur would cry tears when his disciple later departed. So he was crying tears for him actually. That what kind of devotee? He just gave himself fully like that. So actually, he will never gain and will never loses anything. Like Jatayu also gave himself fully, he gave his life also. But do you think that Jatayu lost anything? No. He got the supreme destination of going back to God. So we never lose anything actually by giving to Krishna. In fact, by giving to Krishna, that is the best perfection of anything what we may have. We are thinking they have something. The perfection of possessing anything is actually if you give it to Krishna fully. That is the highest thing what we can do. So that's why so we become foolish actually, with this idea that I'm holding on something, and I want to enjoy this, by which I'll be happy, I'll have some shelter, some sense of shelter and all that. No, actually by giving to Krishna, actually you get the complete happiness and complete shelter, and you gain, and somebody who gives Krishna everything, actually he gains everything, because he becomes he actually then can own Krishna. Krishna becomes his actually. See the episode of Bali Maharaj, that's a very exemplary pastime. I mean, the pastime which clearly tells about this principle. The Bali Maharaj did not hesitate. He did not hesitate to give himself fully. It's not easy actually. That time when he is asking 3 steps of land and everything he took in 2 steps only, and the 3rd step where nothing is there. But you see how Bali Maharaj spontaneously, Lord's put, because it's my body, this is yours. So you put your 3rd step on my head. So he just gave everything. Nothing now remained. And so much that, his guru is not also his guru. So Pracharya also was not happy with him and all that. But in spite of all that parts, he did not hesitate, because he knew this principle very clearly, that he is Supreme Lord. Everything's for him. So he immediately gave. And when he gave, apparently he lost. The Lord was angry, he punished him. No, you did not fulfill your promise. Okay, you gave your head, but So, and he was kind of trying to punish him. So, if I went to ask to the Lord, Lord, why, how are you treating a devotee like this? He said, don't worry, I'm just trying to, I'm doing this pastime just to glorify my devotee. So the Lord actually became the doorkeeper. He gave the Sutra Loka, and then he simply became servant of his own devotee. Such a devotee who offered everything to Krishna. So we should never feel that I'm going to lose anything by giving to Krishna. Whether our time, energy, wealth, our talent, abilities, whatever we give to Krishna, is actually we only gain. Krishna has nothing to gain from us. What Krishna has to gain? Krishna, everything belongs to Krishna only. So what he will gain? He won't gain anything. But who gains is that we. So that example is given that when you decorate the face, then the reflection automatically gets decorated. So when we give to Krishna like that, then we only become truly happy and joyful, and we only get benefited like that. So, and then Prabhupada says, those miscreants are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the artistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Grossly foolish, can't understand. Because of ignorance and misfortune, the atheist and the Naradhama, the lowest of men, do not surrender unto the Supreme Personality of God. Therefore, although the Supreme Lord Krishna has fully himself, he appears in different yugas to demand the surrender to the conditioned soul, so that they will benefit by becoming free from the material clutches. So this is how living entities can become free from all the material clutches by taking shelter of the Lord, surrender to the Lord. So in conclusion, the more we engage in Krishna consciousness and render service to the Lord, the more we benefit. Krishna does not need service from any one of us. So serving the Krishna is like, so when the child, when he's growing, he's eating grains, he's eating wonderful, nice, nutritious food, he becomes strong. So day by day, when we serve Krishna, when we chant holy name and glory for the Lord, we actually becoming more and more strong as in our devotion service. We are gaining strength by that. So we only get benefited this way by engaging in Krishna service. And the Lord is always demanding that surrender, because that is the will of the Lord. The Lord's will is that we take shelter of His. We honestly don't just go on with our conditional life in this material world, cycle of birth and death and suffering. Actually, that pains the heart of the Lord. When Lord sees this jiva is simply uselessly wasting his time and just getting unnecessary sufferings. So that pains the heart of the Lord. So the Lord, that's why He demands the surrender. You surrender. Sometimes people say, no, अरे भगवान की जब इच्छा होगी तो आ जाएंगे मंदिर. तो भगवान की इच्छा अभी है ये. Lord is always wanting. जब भगवान की इच्छा होगी तो हम सेवा भी कर लेंगे. जब भगवान की इच्छा होगी तो हम आपके मंदिर में ही रहेंगे. अभी भगवान की इच्छा होगी तब. Like that people get say so many times they say, right? जब भगवान की इच्छा होगी तो हम माला ही बढ़ा लेंगे. Whenever the Lord will desire, I will increase my rounds also, or I will start chanting. People say that many times they say. But actually, Lord's will is that just take full shelter of me. Satatam kirtayantam Mom is saying. That's so Lord is always, that is the will of the Lord. So भगवान की तो इच्छा है. Lord's will is there. Our will is not there. So I tell them, no, when you desire, then I think something will happen. So when you are going to desire, आपकी इच्छा क्या है? That is more important. भगवान की इच्छा तो है. गीता में तो भगवान दे रहे हैं आपकी इच्छा. देखिए, it's clearly written. Sarvadharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Now only is saying that surrender. So that is the Lord's will. But you are saying that when Lord's will be there, so you should know the will of the Lord. So, but because we have certain desires, the Lord sanctions that. Okay. So when we are going on with our own activities, that is not जो हो रहा है भगवान की इच्छा से हो रहा है. No, भगवान की इच्छा से नहीं हो रहा है. Lord is sanctioning it. That is not His will. That is His sanction. He simply sanctioning because He respects your free will. He respects your desire. So Lord does not forces us not to come back. He simply demands and pleads and requests. He is not forcing. So that is a sanction. Like somebody smoking, drinking. भगवान की इच्छा से हो रहा है. भगवान की इच्छा से कैसे हो रहा है? How that is will of the Lord? It's not will of the Lord. Lord is sanctioning. So actually, the Lord is, as I was saying in the beginning, the Lord is trying to reciprocate with the love of his devotees. So Lord also simply working hard for giving the pleasure to those conditioned souls who are gone away from him. So he comes as Paramatma. He's also just waiting when this fellow will turn towards me, and he's trying to make so many arrangements. And when he's not showing any kind of symptom, any desire, any sincerity to come back to him, so the Lord even because now he desiring so many ways, so Lord also facilitates that, and then makes an arrangement by which he can come back also. He can learn his lessons. He has designed, like I was reading recently, the Brahmaji was engaged in creation of this material world, and he's also the Acharya of Brahma World Sampradaya. So he is also giving the Vedic knowledge. So there it is written, Prabhupada writes, that whole material world is created for the purpose of reformation, for sending the rebellious soul back to God. It's a place of reformation actually. So yes, the Lord is giving that facility. He is sanctioning that and facilitating the divinities, so many varieties of desires to be independent of the Lord. But he has designed a material world in a way that the divinity should learn the lessons also. Eventually he will learn his lessons also, like that. Not forcefully, Lord will take him, but the jiva can become ready, like that. So he has made other arrangement. So that's why different varieties of sufferings and all may be there also in this material. So, like suppose a child who leaves his parents, a small child, maybe, he leaves the parents, and he stays in some place, and let's say all arrangements are there of his comfort and happiness and everything, and the parents don't even worry about it, and they just forget the child, and the child is there, and he lives his whole life. Actually, such kind of parents, in one sense, they're being cruel, because even the child has everything, but he's missing one very important thing. What is that? Love. That is the most important thing. Even though he has everything, see, the child also may not understand. He may just live his life. Oh, I have two things to eat. I have a nice bed to sleep. I have so many servants. Everything is there. But actually, his right is, his birthright is to receive that love of his mother and father. So Lord knows that the jiva can be truly happy. That is his birthright, to be with me, to experience that love. So he does not want the jiva to be bereft of that. Otherwise, Lord has no problem. He can just create, see, heavenly planets are anyway very good. He can create many more planets, like different separate Vakunthas also without him, just be happy with your prosperity and everything what you want. So that Lord is not that, because Lord actually knows that this jiva will not be happy, because there is a very intimate, loving relationship that the jiva cannot be separated from the Lord. So that love is there. So the Lord wants us to taste that love. Lord wants to taste that love. So that's amazing. And I was hearing another aspect of it, that in this case, Sankarshan Das Adhikari was saying. We are saying that every living entity has a very intimate, individual relationship with Krishna. And that relationship will give that rasa to Krishna. So Krishna is missing that rasa. Just telling that should be our impetus to go back to God, and not make Krishna miss that rasa which he gets when we are engaged in his service in that particular rasa. From our perspective, we can think like that also. So Lord is always wanting this. So the Lord is more anxious to take us back actually. How much what we are. Like, who is more anxious to benefit the child? Parents or the child himself? Who is more anxious? One can tell. Who is anxious? Nangu is more anxious for Gopal's benefit, or Gopal who is more anxious? He's saying Lord is more anxious. He's a devotee father. He's saying Lord is more anxious than me and Gopal for the benefit of Gopal. True, it is true. He gives the ultimate answer. But parents are more anxious actually for the benefit of the child. Child, what he does, what does this fellow know? He may not know much. The parent is not forced. They see, hey, what in future, what so many things they make arrangements. The same way the Lord is so anxious actually. That's why we have to just take that. That's why Lord causes the desire. The only thing, that being anxious, having some desire to go back to God. So we take one step, then Krishna will take so many steps to help us. So many varieties of ways Krishna helps. So we should just and the way to develop that desire is to actually be in that association of devotees who have such intense desire to go back to God, to engage in devotional service. And that's the greatest boon what Srila Prabhupada has given us. Srila Prabhupada has given himself to us, and also has given so many of his glorious disciples and his grand disciples, and so many devotees in the community of devotees. Those are so focused upon this important principle of engaging in devotional service all the time. and so anxious to go back to Godhead, so anxious to serve Krishna, so anxious to serve the mission of Srila Prabhupada. So that's our greatest blessings and benediction, that we have having that community with us. We're having those sincere souls with us. We are having all those great personalities around us. We may not understand, but when we actually associate, when we when we actually uh, just open our mind and heart and truly associate with the devotees, then we can see how they are actually just aiming at this sacred, principle of loving God and glorifying God, attaining Krishna Prema. And so it's so amazing. And so we have that facility. Srila Prabhupada is there, and all his disciples are there, great disciples, and so many Vaishnavas sincerely trying to execute the order of Srila Prabhupada and serving the mission so nicely. So it's such an amazing thing actually, because it's very rare. If you see everybody outside, those who are not in this community of wonderful Vaishnavas, so many varieties of anxiety. So they are anxious about so many varieties of other things. So we should carefully associate, no, Mukti Mukti Spriha Vihina Bija Bhakta, Labhrite Tako Sangar Bhakta. So we have those devotees in our movement. So let us, take the association of those glorious devotees, and we develop our desire, make it more intense to go back to God. And the more we desire like that, the from the Lord's side, he is more helped. We can help him by aligning with his desire. He's anyway wanting us. So, but he has to really put his brain right to solve this fellow. He could have come easily. He's going here and there. So Lord's job will be more easy. That way, we just try to simply develop our desire to go back to God. So I'll pause here. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki. If any already late, but if anyone come into reflection. Do you want to say something? Okay. Hare Krishna.